What is the best South Park video game? Now, there's definitely quite a few to pick from, so we're going to be discussing primarily the three most recent games, but we are going to go over briefly the N64 games. Before we get into that, let's go ahead and just nail that subscribe button. Go ahead and hit that bell notification button so you can be notified every single time I drop a video, which for my long-form content is every single day at 12 p.m. Pacific time. So if that's something that you're interested in, definitely come on by the channel and check it out because it would help me out a lot. So guys, let's go ahead and get into it. What is the best South Park video game? Now obviously, a lot of you guys probably know me as the South Park guy, so I should probably have an opinion on the South Park video games. So I have been playing the South Park video games pretty much since they've come out. I've always loved the series, I've always loved the show, and especially too because my parents did not really like the fact that I liked the show back when I was a kid, so it was more taboo. It was something that I should not be doing, quite naughty, if you will. So I've always just loved it. I've always loved the show. I think it's amazing. I think it's hilarious. Some of the best comedy writing that I've ever seen. But how did the games fare? Now let's go ahead and knock out the N64 games immediately. I can tell you right off the bat, none of these are the best game for South Park. The best one is probably South Park Racing, the shameless knockoff of Mario Kart 64. And it's not that great. The reason why I would say that it's probably the best because out of all of them, it has enough gameplay to do. I remember that one being quite possibly the least glitchy of all of them. And I mean, like, the humor was still pretty funny. It was all right. You had Chef's Game Show, which was just a weird one. And it's kind of fun at first. It unfortunately gets boring fairly quickly because it's just a game show. It's just a trivia show. And if you're trying to play a video game, a trivia show might not be the thing for you. And then there's the dreaded first-person shooter South Park game that was so bad that the creators of South Park had immediately condemned it and then went for quite a bit of time where they didn't license out South Park to be made into a video game. So we got those knocked out of the way. There's some mobile games and stuff like that for South Park, but we're not going to discuss those. We're going to go into the big three as far as the South Park games. Now that is the Stick of Truth, the Fractured But Whole, and then Snow Day. So what am I putting at the bottom of that list? We all know it's Snow Day. We all know it's Snow Day. Snow Day was a bit of a disappointment, and I hate to say that. I think it had so much promise. And you got to understand, too, when it comes to a title such as South Park, you are expecting a certain amount of quality. So you go in with very high expectations. And unfortunately, Snow Day did not meet them. They changed up the artwork of the previous two from this 2D style to this 3D style, which was jarring to say the least. And I mean, it's just, why do that? South Park does not go well with a 3D look. I mean, the show is designed to look cheap because they made it cheap at first and they kept that style, and I think there's a certain cool beauty with that. So changing it to this 3D weird looking thing, it takes away from that. I think it was met by the South Park fandom kind of like how Halo 4 was met by the Halo community when they saw the different artwork there. I was just kind of like, what is this? How dare they? And I was somewhat among them. I kind of like the Master Chief's armor and that, but I mean, the elites, man, what were they doing with that? This video isn't about Halo, but I love Halo, so I want to talk about it at least once per video. What are we talking about? South Park? Yeah, let's get back to that, huh? It was this glitchy mess of a game. It looks like it was sped up in development. It was incredibly short, and then just the writing and humor was nowhere near the level of the Stick of Truth or the Fractured But Whole. I mean, it was funny in parts, but it just wasn't quite the same as, say, the previous two games. And considering that they had two amazing games to build off of, it just shocks me that it went in such a bad direction. The gameplay wasn't that great. I like the idea of making it a co-op game and trying to get your whole group of friends involved in it, but it just fell short. So Snow Day is easily at the bottom of that tier. However, I will still say this, Snow Day might be better than some of the N64 games, so there's that. I think some of those games released on like the PlayStation 1 as well, so if I'm just calling them the N64 games, it's because I had them on the N64, so that would be why. Let's move on to number 2. Now, I think most people would agree with my number 2 spot, but there are definitely some of those that think that the Fractured But Whole is number 1. The Fractured But Whole for me is number 2. Obviously, we know what number 1 is. I'm just going to go ahead and explain these 2 choices. Kind of just ruined and spoiled the whole entire ending of the video, but that's fine. That's our style here, to just ruin our work. Anyway, with the Fractured But Whole, the reason why I put it down at number 2, it had a lot going for it. First and foremost, that title is absolutely hilarious. One of the most creative titles that I've seen in quite a long time. But also, too, they refined the combat system. Now, don't get me wrong, I am a fan of the Stick of Truth combat system. I think there is a bit of simplicity to it that's just, you know, it's fine. With the Fractured But Whole, they give more depth and round out the combat system. So that is an improvement, sure. It is still very, very funny. It's just, I wouldn't say it's as funny as the Stick of Truth. And then it is a longer game, so you do have a lot going for it. However, the reason why the Stick of Truth is number 1 for me, Stick of Truth is the funnier game, hands down, full stop. There's no question. I mean, like, there's just so much stuff in the Stick of Truth. They come out swinging. You know, it's a strong start to the new, you know, South Park video games. I mean, let's go over the crazy stuff that happens in the Stick of Truth. You have to perform an abortion on Randy. There's Nazi alien zombies or something like that, if I recall correctly. You can go into random people's houses and just see some truly interesting and disturbing behavior. And the thing that I like about this is that, so the Fractured But Whole still had basically like some crazy side boss that you could go ahead and fight in the guise of Morgan Freeman. And that's hilarious. But the Stick of Truth, having Al Gore be that villain, it was perfect. It was absolutely perfect. And the thing that I love about these 2 video games in particular, as far as the entirety of the South Park games, these 2 very much felt like it was just an episode of South Park that you finally got to be a part of. And that's amazing. That's wonderful. For a fan, that's an awesome situation. With Snow Day, I didn't really feel like I was in an episode of South Park. Did you guys feel that way? Because I felt like it was just trying to be something it wasn't. Maybe it was kind of trying to be like a co-op Call of Duty game. Like I feel like they just kind of threw away what was working for them with the first 2 games, and then they tried to become something that they just weren't. With Stick of Truth, it knew its identity immediately. You know, once again, like I said, they were just being an episode of South Park. And if you had put that episode, if you had turned that into an episode of South Park, you know, just as the cutscenes were, would have been one of the classics of the show. Would have been up there as one of the best South Park episodes. I do firmly believe that. I think it was absolutely great. Loved the characters, loved the allies that you got to have. Having Butters on your team was really fun. You know, how he could go from his fantasy character to Professor Chaos. That was absolutely hilarious. It's a great game. I haven't played it in like a good couple years now, and just talking about this makes me really, really want to play the Stick of Truth again. I probably will end up playing that on Twitch sometime, so if you guys want to go ahead and follow me on Twitch, Don't Be Smart Alec, definitely check me out there. I try to play every day, so yeah, definitely come on by. But Let me know what your guys' favorite South Park video game is. If you like this channel, if you want to go ahead and see me grow, if you want to help support me, definitely hit that subscribe button, hit the bell notification button too. That is important because it tells you whenever I drop a new video, which for my long form, as I said before, is every single day at 12 p.m. Pacific time. And guys, if you want to be a G and do any further support for this channel, I do have a Patreon now. And for only $2, very, very cheap, you can go ahead and get some exclusive content, like tips on how to be a content creator. So there's a lot of online schools out there that will charge you like $20 to $80, somewhere around there, for like, you know, stuff on how to be a content creator, how to be a comedian or anything like that. I am giving you these you know, brief tips and tricks on how to be a content creator for only $2. That's a deal, my friend, in this economy. I mean, come on, guys, that's a deal. The reason why I'm pushing this too is just for the fact that I am trying to make this a full-time career, and I recently put my 2 weeks into my job. So Patreon is something that is a more consistent paycheck. It would help me out a lot and help me do better videos. So I would really appreciate that. But hey, if you can't afford it, I'm not going to hold that against you. I just like making videos for you guys. So let me know what your favorite South Park video game is in the comment section. Please go ahead and engage with this video as much as you can. And guys, before I go, I just want to remind you that this video is being sponsored by Grifters Cola. Grifters Cola will never shut down the sweatshops. It's not really a slogan, it's more of like a threat or just a dictation, if you will. It's not good either way.